products is go to pinrepair.com. Pinrepair.com, that's Clay's site. He has an awesome write-up on how to clear coat a playfield. We're just about ready to start clear coating. Just one more important thing left to do, and that's to clean the space you're going to clear coat in. So I happen to be using this end of my garage here, so I've removed all the bigger items out of here that don't need to be here. And then I took my push broom here and give it a real good sweeping. Make sure you get all the crevices and get any debris that could possibly kick up and land on your playfield out of the way. So after I swept up, I took my blow gun on my airline to blow any dust, especially out of the upper surfaces like my garage door rails. I got some other things hanging on the wall. I just blow all that debris, blow it out of here. With the garage door open, I blow that out, and then let that dust settle for a little bit. Go inside, internet for a little bit, let that dust settle. And then I swept up again one more time with my push broom. And then after that, with my shop vac, I went around the whole garage, sucked the upper areas of any debris, sucked all the low areas, and redid the floor with the shop vac, just to make sure there's no debris that's going to get kicked up when you're spraying or when you're walking around. That's going to settle into your clear coat. It's very hard when you don't have a dedicated area to spray. It's very hard to keep debris from landing in your playfield. So do the best prep work you can to make sure that doesn't happen. If you get a couple things in your clear coat as it's drying, most all of that is going to sand off when you do your wet sanding. So just make sure you clean as best you can. The other thing I got going on right now is I happen to be doing this in February in New Jersey, so it's pretty cold. So I have my garage heater going. I want to get this space up to about 70 degrees is usually what I get my garage area up to when I clear coat. I also have my compressor drain open. I am draining water out of that. And I think that's about it for prep work. So next we'll be getting the gun ready, mixing clear coat, and spraying the first two coats. So here we are. This is the playfield that I'll be using for this video. This is a playfield out of a 1976 Gottlieb 4-player Target Alpha. And this playfield is ready to go. We're going to be clearing this thing in just a couple minutes. As you can see, we've already done the magic eraser on this playfield. It's also been scuff sanded, naphthed, and some small touch-ups. This playfield didn't need a lot of touch-up, just some key lines and stuff like that. So this playfield is ready to go. The other important thing you'll notice on this playfield, and again, this is not the way I normally do it, but it is perfectly doable to leave everything on your playfield, on the bottom. You can see the switches that go through the playfield were just dropped out. And then once we come to the top again, you'll see that all the holes have been taped off. The drop target assemblies have been properly taped off to make sure that no clear coat is going to get on them. And that's about it. Alright, I got my playfield laid out here. I put it up on jack stands, and I made sure it's level both ways, just to make sure that when the clear coat kind of self-levels, that it won't puddle in any particular area. And now I got my naphtha, and I'm going to put some naphtha on a paper towel, and I'm going to give this playfield a good wipe down to make sure we have any residue, wax residue, any leftover dirt, your oily fingerprints, and any other debris that might be left over from your touch-ups or stuff like that. So let's put this naphtha right on the paper towel and give it a good soaking. I've already done this a couple times. This is my final cleaning that I'm going to do here. Wiping this down real good with the wet paper towel. And after that, we'll take a dry paper towel. Really wipe that in. Now we're going to let that dry. It'll only take a couple minutes, and we're going to get our gun set up. My gun plugged in, and I'm just checking my air pressure. For my particular gun, it seems to spray best when I have 40 when I pull the trigger. So I'm hooked up. Just make a minor adjustment here. Alright, that looks pretty good. Next thing I'm going to do is take my lacquer thinner. I'm I'm going to pour a lacquer thinner into my cup. The reason I do this is two reasons. One, to clear out any contaminant that might be trapped in the gun. This will help spray it out. I also want to set up my test pattern as best I can with a lacquer thinner. Obviously, with a clear coat product, it's $60 to $75 a quart. I don't want to be wasting that product setting up my gun. So I want to make sure I do as much setup as I can with the lacquer thinner, and then once I change over to the clear coat, I'll test it again on my test board here to make sure I have the proper oval kind of spray pattern with the clear coat, and then I'll be ready to spray. So, already we're looking pretty good. Just going to make some minor adjustments here. And then we're just going to spray out the rest of this lacquer thinner, and then I'll probably put a little more through the gun just to make sure, I got the gun nice and cleared out. Alright, so I'm ready to mix up my clear coat here. I got my mixing bucket, and what I did with my mixing bucket is I made marks on it for my 4-to-1 mixture of the clear coat and the activator, just so I don't mess it up when I'm pouring it in the bucket. This is probably one of the most important steps, is mixing it correctly 4-to-1. So that's why I made a couple marks on there. So we'll open up our clear, and we'll carefully pour that into my bucket. And then we'll add the activator up to my line. So I've got 4-to-1 clear coat to activator in there. Then I'm going to take my smoothie, my fisheye remover. I'm going to put a couple drops of that in there. And then with a mixing stick, I'm going to mix that all up. Once that's mixed up, I'll put it in the gun, and I'll let it set in the gun just for a minute or two, just any bubbles that might form when I pour it in, let them settle out. While that's happening, take a tack cloth and tack the playfield for any dust or anything that may have landed on it after you did your cleaning with your napkin. Tacked off the playfield, my gun's loaded up with the clear coat. My test board here, I'm just going to make sure that my spray pattern is still good. And then I'm ready to move to the playfield. Now this first coat, you don't want to go too heavy. You just want to kind of lock everything in, your touch-ups, you want to lock that in. So this is a lighter coat, and then we're going to let this dry 20 minutes to a half hour, and then we'll do the heavier second coat. So here we go. I'm sure it's going to get dusty in here pretty quick. Alright, the first coat's dried for about 20 minutes to a half hour. Looking pretty good. Getting ready to do the second coat. We're going to go a lot heavier on this second coat. This first coat was to mainly lock in the the touch-ups and stuff that you did. The main thing to remember on your second coat is to pay attention to the product in your gun. You don't want to run out of product while you're in the middle of spraying. It'll spit and spatter on your playfield. It's not that big of a deal if that happens. It'll just require a lot more wet sanding. Alright, we just got done that second coat. Looks real good. It's a little foggy in here. I got my fan going over here trying to suck the fumes out of here. But you can see that's already got a nice shine to it. Looks real nice. So good. That is looking sweet.